Hey, Steven. Welcome to Meet the Team Monday.
Thank you, Alex. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Just decided to come into the office today, have some nice socially distant interaction with other human beings. So it's been good.
Nice. I saw you with a few people in there. I'm actually definitely thinking that I'm missing it and would love to get back in. At least, I don't know how often, but a day a week maybe coming in would be nice. So
there you go. Yeah, I try and do that every now and then, as long as things are still safe. Like once a week. There's only like 6 people here. Like it's a pretty safe place to do. But on that note, let's kick it off with my first question for you. Work from home. How's that been treating you?
Really, it's been up and down to be totally straightforward. I think when we came home and didn't really have a context of how long it was going to be, it was kind of exciting. It was like, hey, we get to work from home for a little while. I think as the year, I was going to say the years have gone on. It feels like it's been multiple years. I feel like as the years gone on, it's gotten a little worse in terms of just like the social interaction more than anything. Like you were saying before, I think productivity-wise, obviously, I think people have realized that we're in a role where we can do a lot of stuff from home. Everything we do primarily is over the phone, over the computer. But on a personal note, like I love the social aspect of DD. I love playing ping pong with people, grabbing lunch with people, just talking during the day about stuff. And I don't have a lot of that. I do Zooms and stuff like that with my reps, but it's not the same. It's not identical by any means.
It's tough because like you were fortunate enough to live by yourself, but in a pandemic maybe that's not as good.
Yeah, I mean, I love a lot of aspects of it, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, once it got to the point where I wasn't really going anywhere, essentially all I was doing was seeing my girlfriend and my immediate family, and it gets to be a little bit of a drain. Definitely looking forward to seeing people again, hoping that, knock on wood, hope maybe someday we have a summer party or a holiday party again, something. I miss one of those.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the next question before we get too down in the dumps about how we're all stuck inside. I'd love to hear a little bit about, how you started at DemandDrive and sort of why you took the role to begin with.
Yeah. Where I was in a little bit of an odd place when I was looking for a job. I had come out of my recruiting job that I wasn't super thrilled with. Got a lot of good experience out of that, but I was really looking to move into something where I could grow towards management. That was like always the biggest thing for me. I was a business management major in school. Definitely saw myself ideally down the line, kind of overseeing some people. I think I've done well in a sales role, but I came in here specifically to kind of get to the point where I'm starting to get to. So it's exciting stuff for me for sure. I had a little bit of sales experience when I came in, being a recruiter, doing some financial advising stuff, but really, I started because it seemed like DemandDrive was growing. There's a lot of people they were hiring on a yearly basis. New positions are being created, every year as we grow. So that's kind of what stood out to me, is just literally looking to the future and seeing, hey, I could see myself growing within this company and, just kind of moving up the chain and getting to a point where I have some management experience, whether I stay here forever or, look for something in several years. I just thought the experience was a huge aspect of it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. As somebody who obviously started with sales, but then moved up into more the marketing role away from the SDR role. It's been awesome to sort of watch the company grow as we've been able to grow with it. Yeah,
I mean, obviously you have to do the sales role for a little while, and I think you got to prove yourself before you can take that next step, which takes a year or so. But moved into manager role, and just recently became a director, so definitely exciting for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Let's take it back a little bit further. I know you mentioned you were in recruiting, and I'm sure you've had sort of a handful of jobs here and there, but what was your very first job?
So my first job was actually my first job was actually in high school, a little bit part-time. Was the same job as my first full-time job. I was actually a daycare teacher. So back in the day, I really thought that I would end up being a teacher at some point. I really like working with kids. I actually think a lot of the aspects I like in management are similar to the teaching side of things, where I just like to coach, be like available for people, help them through things. So for a long time, I really thought that would be something that I'd get into, maybe like elementary school. Unfortunately, the money side of it is one of the major reasons that it was hard to decide that that was going to be a lifelong career. My dad's actually a teacher. I have the people around me that encouraged it, but for me, I wanted to have a little bit more control over what I do. I think the management is a little bit different as a teacher, obviously. And yeah, I loved that job though. It was one of the most stressful and rewarding jobs at the same time, where you would be, I worked mostly with toddlers, so 2 years old, and it gets to be a lot.
I've heard, I mean, I don't have any kids of my own or anything like that, but I've heard the terrible twos, right? Isn't that when toddlers?
Yeah, so again, it is a lot. It was one of those things where I would get to the end of Friday sometimes and I would just feel like, oh my God, that was quite a week. But at the same time, just little moments, they're just learning to talk, like they're learning, basically. They're learning everything. So everything's exciting. I love that in between where they're not getting too old, where they start to get like fighting with kids and stuff, but they're growing into themselves, and it's a good age. I miss honestly working with kids. I don't think I'm ready for them myself anytime soon, but it'd be nice to be around. I am now an uncle though, so that's the nice new
There you go. Awesome. Well, Stephen Keefe as I like to call you, thanks so much for joining me for this Meet the Team Monday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me on.